Okay, this is the vocabulary pronunciation video for Kapitel 3, Stufe 2. First phrase. Das muss ja schlimm sein. Das muss ja schlimm sein. Wie schrecklich. Wie schrecklich. Ich hab eben eine Pechsträhne. Ich hab eben eine Pechsträhne. Da kann man nichts machen. Da kann man nichts machen. Was kann ich schon tun? Was kann ich schon tun? Es ist halt so. Es ist halt so. Komm, ich geb dir mal einen guten Rat. Komm, ich geb dir mal einen guten Rat. Versuch doch mal etwas zu machen. Versuch doch mal etwas zu machen. Du solltest mal ins Kino gehen. Du solltest mal ins Kino gehen. An deiner Stelle würde ich mehr lernen. An deiner Stelle würde ich mehr lernen. Lass dir doch die Haare schneiden. Lass dir doch die Haare schneiden. Das sagt etwas über dich aus. Das sagt etwas über dich aus. Okay, now we're at our verbs. So I'm going to go over these a little bit more specifically. Mitmachen mit is a separable verb, and it also has an accompanying preposition. So mitmachen is separable, and then we also have mit. So we have two mits in our sentences when we use this. So if we look at our verb chart up there, ich mache mit. The second mit is from the separable part, so taken off of mitmachen, and the one in between mache and mit is the one that is just going along with it, the one we're using as a preposition. So we could say to go along with is, let's say to go along with the fashion, we could say ich mache mit der Mode mit. So mit being dative requires die Mode to change to der Mode. All of the conjugations are regular because of machen, which you guys should already know how to conjugate. Our next one is beurteilen nach. And beurteilen has an inseparable prefix, the be, and it includes a preposition. So we will not be separating anything, but we do have a preposition. So we could say to judge according to, and we could say ich beurteile whatever it is, nach whatever it is. So we could say what we're judging in between beurteile and nach, and after nach, what we are judging that according to. Now after nach, we do have to use the dative case. So we could, for example, say I'm judging the clothes according to the fashion. So we could say ich beurteile die Kleider nach der Mode. Okay, our next one is, again, separable, and we have a preposition. So we have ankommen bei. Ankommen is the separable part, and bei is a dative preposition. So we have ich komme bei an being put to the end. We could, for example, say I am accepted well by my friends, and that would be ich komme gut bei meinen Freunden an. I put gut between komme and bei to say I'm accepted well, and then after bei and before an, I put my friends in the dative case, so meinen Freunden. Again, kommen is a regular verb, so you should know how to conjugate it. All you have to do is remember to include an at the end, and make sure that you have bei with the dative case. Our next one is sich anpassen. This one is also separable, so the an is moved to the end, and it requires the dative case for the an part. It is also reflexive. We're using accusative reflexive. So ich passe mich blank an. The reason du is highlighted in green is because the conjugation is a little different. Normally, we obviously add an st, but because of the two s's already, we don't need to add a third. That's a little too redundant. So instead, we just add the t. It's not really irregular, but it's a little different. Now, if you wanted to use this in a sentence and say, I conform to, I'll just keep using the fashion. So I conform to the fashion. We could say, ich passe mich der Mode an. Again, making der Mode because it is dative, but it does come before the an. So whatever you're putting, as in you're conforming to it, has to be dative case. And the rest of them are regular. So you should be able to figure out passen, which we have also had before. Our next verb is including an inseparable prefix. So nothing really too complicated. And then the only reason the do form is highlighted in green is because, again, we have two s's. We don't need to add a third. So this one is regular. Beeinflussen. Our next verb is sich ausdrücken. It is separable. You do not have to have the reflexive. So the reason I included the reflexive in brackets is because you could say you're expressing yourself, but you don't always have to say you're expressing yourself. You could say you're expressing your beliefs or your feelings. So when you do that, those would just be the accusative case. But for example, we could say I am expressing myself, which would just be ich drücke mich aus. If you said I am expressing my fashion, since I'll keep using that word, it would be ich drücke die Mode aus. Alright, next one, zugeben. Another separable. You guys should know how to conjugate geben already. It is an Oklahoma verb. So, du and as the S change. We have a vowel change, the E changing to an I. So we have ich gebe zu, du gibst zu, er sie es gibt zu, wir geben zu, ihr gebt zu, sie und sie geben zu. That's zugeben. Okay, next one is entwickeln, another inseparable prefix verb. We have ich entwickle, du entwickelst, er sie es entwickelt, wir entwickeln, ihr entwickelt, and sie und sie entwickeln. The reason ich has a conjugation that is highlighted is because we did not add the E between the K and the L. You can technically, but I would say that this form, entwickle, is more preferred because it has one fewer syllable. So instead of entwickele. Our next one is versuchen, which has another inseparable prefix. If you know how to conjugate suchen, which you should because it's regular, it's the same idea. Versuche, versuchst, versucht, versuchen, versucht, and versuchen. Vorhaben, another separable verb. This time using haben as the conjugated verb. You should already know how to conjugate this. And if you don't, it is an Oklahoma verb. So du hast and er sie es hat. And then just putting vor at the end. So we have ich habe vor, du hast vor, er sie es hat vor. Wir haben vor, ihr habt vor, and sie und sie haben vor. Next up we have aushalten, another separable. Halten is a little bit strange. It is an Oklahoma verb, but if you look more specifically, it's not just adding the umlaut. In the as form, we don't even add an ending. So it's just the stem with an umlaut. So we have ich halte aus, du hältst aus, er sie es hält aus, and then wir halten aus, ihr haltet aus, sie und sie halten aus. Next verb is nähen, no prefixes. It is also regular, so it should be pretty easy. So nähen is conjugated ich nähe, du nähst, er sie es näht, wir nähen, ihr näht, and sie und sie nähen. Next one is sparen, again, no prefixes. It is also regular. So you should have ich spare, du sparst, er sie es spart, wir sparen, ihr spart, and sie und sie sparen. Herumblättern is another separable verb. This time we take herum and move that to the end. Blättern is regular. We do not drop the umlaut at any point, and we add regular endings. So we should end up with ich blättere herum, du blätterst herum, sie es blättert herum, wir blättern herum, ihr blättert herum, and sie und sie blättern herum. Between blättern, or the conjugation of blättern, and herum, you need to put what you're leafing through. So it could be a newspaper, as we have in parentheses, or it could be a book, a magazine, whatever it is, that's where it goes. Der Geschmack. Der Geschmack. Das Mitleid. Das Mitleid. Der letzte Schrei. Der letzte Schrei. When we use this expression in a sentence, you have to pay attention to the case that it will be in, because right now it's der letzte Schrei, so it is masculine. But if it were, for example, the object, so we could say, I'm wearing the latest fashion, you would then have to change der to the accusative form. So it would become den. And that also changes your adjective ending, which would become letzten. So we would have to say, ich trage den letzten Schrei. So it does change according to the case. So make sure you pay attention to that. Next word is die Kleider. Die Kleider. Ausgefallen. Ausgefallen. Verrückt. Verrückt. Ohne. Ohne. Ohne weiteres. Ohne weiteres. Ohne zu. Ohne zu. This phrase is going to be used with our to plus infinitive clauses or just infinitive clauses. When we use it in English, we're saying without ing, where the first part is the verb, the blank ing. So we could, for example, say without doing my homework, which would become ohne meine Hausaufgaben zu machen. So after zu we put machen, and in English that's the without doing my homework. So that's how that correlates. So ohne meine Hausaufgaben zu machen. This is a similar phrase, zu, and zu is used in infinitive clauses as well. After the zu, this is where in English we will have our verb after to. So it becomes in order to something. So I could say in order to do my homework, which would become meine Hausaufgaben zu machen. Meine Hausaufgaben zu machen. And this one is like the last two we just did. Anstatt zu. And anstatt means instead of. So we have anstatt zu being instead of ing. Again, the verb after zu is where the verb will fill in for ing. So I could, again, say instead of doing my homework, anstatt meine Hausaufgaben zu machen. Anstatt meine Hausaufgaben zu machen. And this word is a conjunction. I know you have seen it before with our da compounds, but this time we're going to use it as a conjunction to mean so that, which is damit. Damit.